4. TT, amazing on the blue side. Not so hot on the red side here. So we'll have to see if they can go against their statistics. So far this split, they are 5 and 17 on the red side. It ain't pretty.
That's real rough. They are pretty confident, though. I'm just going to say that outright. They lock in the Talia and the Aphelios here for TT. We'll get the iBoy Kalista, though. We get to see a little snippet of a gameplay moment from iBoy on the Kalista, but that is an upside for this pickup, is some of that aggression you get from iBoy. He'll be paired with the Renata for Yanja.
Yeah, okay, so a strong bot lane 2v2. I mean, we very rarely see this 2v2 anymore because Kalista is basically permanently banned in the LPL right now. So RA going to be very pleased grabbing that one for themselves. A lot of pressure in the bottom side. I would like to see Lian going for an aggressive jungler that can influence the lanes. A Pantheon definitely takes those boxes. Lock that in. 100% win rate for Pantheon on the side of RA so far this split. They played it against LGD in the most recent series. It can definitely get you a lead and can definitely snowball just like Kalista wants to.
I am here for it. Maybe we'll get another rendition of my Pantheon call. But I'm very excited to see the Pantheon just because it is that decision making. It's a lot of the aggression that I like to see from Lan. Even if we're not getting the comfort, I think this is going to work out well for the at least compositional style that RA are going for in the second game. But the Vi does give a lot more of that pressure in terms of target selection and pick out potential for TT.
Yeah, so Gwen being banned away here. TT are going to have counter pick for the top side. So Hoya should be fairly comfortable up there. It's possible that they prioritize something like a Sejuani and they go for the support last, but I would definitely prefer to see them go for the counter pick up in top lane. Two of the big picks for Cube being banned away here. You can anticipate maybe something like a Nautilus being locked in just because they want some engage, but you could even see like a Braum maybe or a Tom Kench just to try and protect Kepler, because with a Pantheon, with a Renata Kalista, you can anticipate massive pressure towards the bottom side, and there is that Braum.
There is the Braum, because we did get that support focus in the final couple bans for RA. Now it's on RA's side to pick up their solo laners here. Oh, wait, that was so cool. I didn't know. iBoy's mouse pad. That's amazing. It's Pikachu. That's super cool.
Aww.
Anyways, it is the Sylas that actually comes through for RA. Sorry, I got a little distracted. But I like the Sylas here for Strive, at least to try to change things up, take that other side of the matchup as well, at least in terms of just piloting the Sylas.
iBoy, an adorable man that likes adorable things, apparently. It is going to be, a Rumble locked in for Cube. If I'm not mistaken, this is the first time he plays Rumble this split. This has been a Shanji special this split, but this will be the 17th unique pick here for Cube.
I can't fit it on the paper anymore. Bunchables, like I've got a counter and I can't. There's not another spot. I don't know what to do here. That's actually crazy. How much we've seen this guy adapt to the meta, how much we've seen him try different things. Hoya will be on the Sejuani for a second time in a row. This would be an interesting. Obviously, we still have a little bit of time to change, but there's some flexibility in RA's side as well.
Yeah, just think about it. Like, the Sylas has often been picked as like a counter into Ornn, but Ornn and Sejuani sort of fulfill a similar purpose in the meta, right? Where you're looking for an engage, someone that can play kind of weak side, sometimes win those lanes anyway. Well, you can take away the Sejuani ultimate, so you get that same engage for Cube on this Sylas. He'll have a fine matchup up in that top lane, and then you get to have Rumble in the mid lane. Now, hilariously, this is actually something that Lyric loved to play for a long time back in 2020, was Rumble mid with Comet. It's incredibly oppressive. It can be so difficult to deal with. I'm not going to pretend I know the matchup between Rumble and Talia in the mid lane. I have no idea who wins that one, but I can imagine Rumble could be quite oppressive there.
So I'm just going to say there was an oddity at the end there. Vi did not get changed. So it could be Talia jungle. I'm just going to throw it out. I will see once the actual graphic comes up here, but there could be some finickiness to this draft because that 20-second marker did come down at the last moment there. So we'll see, but there's so much spice here. And I want to go back to the iteration of like setting up expectations for these two teams, right? Like TT win here, 2-0. They're in playoffs for the first time in under Thundertalk Gaming. And for RA, moments to prove yourself, moments to come back from that first game. The disappointment that we saw in a lead that was right in their grasp and they couldn't finish it. And to kind of play that spoiler against TT would be absolutely incredible. And with the comp that RA have. And you saw a couple of those smiles on their faces. I feel like they have an upside here, especially with their track record of TT on red side.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the crucial things here...
Okay, it did get changed. It just didn't get changed on
it's Rumble
screen.
Top. It's Rumble Top. We got too excited. It's going to be the Silas. I'm kind of disappointed. I'm going to be totally honest. This is not as exciting as it could have been. However, it is still exciting, right? Both top laners running Ignite. That is going to be such a volatile lane up there. Cube is going to have a massive amount of pressure as well. But Hoya actually having the counter pick, right? He's the one that's picked last, so obviously comfortable to take the Sejuani up there. The key thing here, RA once again need to have a lead. That seems to be the theme of this series. And look at this, iBoy getting 2 wards for himself. That's going to be an XP advantage in the bottom lane. Kepler and Yao Yao, they have no chance of contesting early.
That's huge. And it also gives them like entire vision of the bottom side river. So actually great stuff for an aggressive bottom lane that we need to see really pump their stuff here for RA. We will get the same side start for both junglers, though, at least pathing towards this top side unless we see anything crazy. But this is what we're looking for the bottom lane, right? The aggression was there last game through the jungle. We were looking at Lian primarily with that Nidalee, but as well as Beishuan finding a lot. Here in the bottom lane, that is the story of game number 2. And can iBoy and Yuyanja find that advantage?
And I feel like this is the exact same thing that we saw in the first game, right? Where Yuyanja's just landing the Qs, iBoy getting big damage down, Kepler under massive threat. Then in game number 1, they were bailed out by Beishuan, right? Beishuan went for the really early gank, forced iBoy behind, then they got some repeat ganks and found a massive lead for Kepler. Like, look at the way Beishuan is pathing. He is not coming down to this bottom lane. They do not get a bailout this time, and iBoy Yuyanja are going to be over the moon about that fact.
Oh, wait. So he pinged, got a little vision, at least from UCal in the mid. Okay, he walked back across. Okay, never mind. I was going to say, he got some vision. Ping were coming out from UCal against the chickens there to say that obviously Leon's pathing towards top side. We saw Beishuan actually walk across the entirety back towards bottom lane of the mid lane, but he walks back up, trying to go for the full clear. We see pings now on the map from Leon going for an aggressive invade, while iBoy and Yuyanja just chunking away at the turret plates down here.
Good handshake as well. Bit of damage coming down. Crucially, this, even if it's not a plate right now, these plates will be taken. If Beishuan doesn't influence, Leyen going for an invade here. So Vi versus Pantheon, this is a very aggressive 1v1 between the two junglers. You don't usually see this much upfront damage on the table. Leyen moving to the top side. I'm not sure if he can actually go for a dive here. Hoya should be fairly safe, and there we go. Spots out Leyen.
I feel like Beishuan was actually so big brain there to skip off on the red buff, go straight to the Krugs, and Leyen was just waiting there at the red buff to try to take it. He will actually just seed it because he did see from Hoya's vision onto Leyen on the top side. But that means he's just going to try to dart straight down to the bottom side quadrant and punish this bottom lane of iBoy and Yuyanja.
Yeah, either punish the bottom lane or go for the Krugs, but you're playing Vi and you've got Kepler and
far
Aphelios. We know the strategy for TT, iBoy and Yuyanja in big trouble here, but I don't know if the rest of TT can get here in time. Yuyanja's the target.
Oh,
what a
he
flash.
dodges out and from the Winter's Bite and then also flashes from Beishuan. That is huge from Yuyanja.
Yuyanja just broke their ankles completely and utterly. Beishuan could have gone for the Krugs, like sacrificing his red buff to make this creative play, and Yuyanja just outplays them.
Oh, he's in trouble. He's in trouble. Oh, I thought, okay, sorry to interrupt you there. I thought maybe Leon would flash for it.
I thought Yukal was doomed there, to be quite honest. He's going to have to go all the way around. I think he might lose quite a few minions here, because Leon and Strife should be able to zone him from the mid lane, but actually not going to go too aggressive with this one. Leon wants to return to his jungle here, so Strife will be fine. If that knockback had hit him, maybe that wouldn't have been the case.
Oh, I love this matchup so far. It's just every time you think things are done, it's like, I want a couple more love taps in there. I want the last laugh in these fights. But we do have, obviously, Dragon coming up on the board, some objectives to focus on as well. And I want to see if we get an uptick in at least the early Dragons in this one and see if that pressure really works out for RA on the bottom side, right? Because you're looking at that lane. iBoy Yuyanja have been pushed up constantly. Now that Lan is on that side of the map, I expect them to utilize that some more.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, look at the pressure that's coming out from iBoy and Yuyanja. There's a lot of space on the bottom side. Drake alive, as you say. But I don't know whether RA will be looking towards Drakes here or if they'll just look to play it fairly quiet until you have Pantheon's ultimate, right? One of the big things about Pantheon is you can, if you just try and power farm up, get level 6, try and start catching people out on the map. The issue that they have is Strive is on Sylas, which you generally want a few levels before you start to really fight hard on Sylas. Whereas, like, quite often we see the Talia alongside a Pantheon. You both hit level 6, and you both just fly across the map to make something happen. Sylas can't necessarily do that himself, but he's against the Talia. So you can kind of enact that strategy once both of these guys are level 6. So I feel like for now, RA, they're happy with their lane matchups, right? CS lead in the top side, CS lead in the mid lane, CS lead in the bottom lane. They can just slowly but surely eke this out until Leyen's level 6.
They're bringing 4 members up here against Hoya. Beishuan is hovering, but Hoya trying to clear out the minions.
Oh,
He's
Jesus.
just doomed at this point. He has the Glacial Prison. He has a little bit of time. Hoya goes down. Beishuan quickly after. Very nicely done in terms of weaving through that tower. Speaking of weaving, though, the Weaver's Wall comes through. Lien, he's in some trouble. The bailout's not going to be enough. He flashes and misses it. He doesn't go down. He'll eventually die. The bailout doesn't save him. UCal will die too, though. And that's 3 kills for RA.
I'm going to be honest, UCal had no right trying to get a kill here. Like, at least he gets one, so it's a silver lining for him. But honestly, that was a beautiful dive coming out from RA. Nothing Hoya could do about it with the 4-man play in the top side. iBoy abandoned on the bottom lane, which does mean Kepler is able to close that CS gap, able to get a plate, probably 2 for himself here. So definitely some positive for TT, at least on the bottom side, but a phenomenal dive. I want to see another clip of this, right? Because the way that Cube just takes aggro and just sits there, lets the team do the rest of the work, then steps on out of the aggro after the fact. Hoya just gets burnt to a crisp.
It's actually crazy. And again, just the timing. I think the Weaver's Wall a little zealous here from UK. He just wants to really try to get something back. Unfortunately, he does burn that flash, so it doesn't really work out for him. Oh, there's the grand startfall. Hoya's trying to get out of this one, but he might just eat a little bit more of that dirt in the graveyard, as he will go down for the 2nd time in this early game.
And that's the thing about Pantheon. He's basically just the new Nocturne jungle, right? Where the second you step too far up in the lane, if you're not running flash, which Hoya isn't, you're just going to get killed. There is no other options. And one of the things about Rumble is he does extremely well with junglers that have CC. Yuyanja's in trouble.
Oh, the Yuyanja ward just signals his death potentially. He's going to bail himself out. And the phase call. Perfectly timed for iBoy. Yuyanja goes extra far on that one to make sure he gets out of there. Kepler again just left to the turret plates. We get a trade back as the Rift Herald going over to Leyen.
Yeah, I will say. 3 plates down for Kepler, getting close to a 4th. They've still got 5.5 minutes to get these plates down as well. The Herald, as you say, going to Leyen, you can anticipate he'll take that up to Cube later on. Cube already massive, Hoya already struggling here. You just want to keep getting this Rumble further ahead. There's an argument to be made for mid lane as well, where you could try and free Strive up a little bit, just get a bit of gold into his pocket. Nice little recall cancel.
Oh my god. One more. Oh, the bailout. It's easy peasy. Kepler on the board.
That was blind. They walk up, Yao Yao spots him after throwing the Q over. They see that it's hit, and they already knew he was low, so then Kepler just unleashes everything. Obviously, Kepler's combo wasn't blind, but just the fact that Yao Yao walks forward, just goes for a blind Q, like, maybe he's recalling here, and they end up with a kill off of the back of it. You take those every single day of the week. Recall from Leyen after stealing away the red buff here. And once again, the jungle matchup very different this time to what we saw in game number 1. Leyen not wanting to just farm, wanting to get involved in these lanes.
We got to look at that play on bottom lane again. He's just backing right there. So it wasn't blind. They saw him backing. Then the ward over as well. But just that last little pop shot from Kepler feels so bad. It was just a watch as his health bar goes down. Oh, in the top lane. Thought Beishuan might go for it. He does have the cease and desist. They have the Glacial Prison already used on the Cube. Here comes the damage, but the red carpet comes out from Cube. He's trying to get the damage down, but Yao Yao's here as well. And Beishuan gets the kill. TT, they're being decisive again, Munchables.
They certainly are. They are not allowing any room for error right there. 3 people committed to the top side to make that play happen. And crucially, Leyen was pathing up in this direction. We said he wants to drop the Herald at the top side.
Although it's not going to be enough to get all the way, but Hoya's still locked down. That CC chain is one of death. And Strive gets his 3rd kill of the game.
Okay, well, I guess they do get to drop the Herald at the top side. It's just going to be Strive that gets all the gold instead
Look at
of
this, though.
Cube.
They've got Weaver's Wall down here. I wonder if they just go for it. It's a bit of a dive, and it's against a Renata. Probably not the best thing to dive, but they got to find something to answer here in top side as Beishuan. I don't think he's going to be enough. They'll get a lot of damage on this tier 2 tower. They're going to TP now. Hoya coming in. They go for the engage down to Strive. The tower not going to go down. Now they're trying to find Strive on the end, but he backs out just in time.
Yeah, unfortunately, no real damage coming out from either Baytron or Hoya this early on into the game, so they won't get much more there. And crucially, RA massively ahead, like 3,000 gold lead, and that's exactly what we needed from the team, right? The Kalista having a massive advantage early on in that laning phase and able to play it safe against Kepler and Yao Yao. This is the issue when you pick up something like the Braum. It's very difficult to put pressure on in the lane. So Yao Yao getting out of that lane, trying to influence the rest of the map alongside Yu Yanja, but Yu Yanja definitely getting the better of it so far. Lian super proactive towards that top side. And Hoya now, with all of this pressure onto him, 20 CS down, massive amount of gold, and crucially Strive getting all of those turret plates, getting 3 kills off the back of all of this action. This Silas is monstrously huge as we enter the mid game.
And we've seen Silas be so crucial in the last game and now into this game. So it's been nice to see UCal and Strive both performing on the pick, but it still comes down to execution, right? And I don't want to make any recollections to the first game as much as I maybe should, but definitely want to see RA close out a little bit more of this early lead, right? Try to increase that advantage to give themselves wiggle room as we get to that mid to late game as well.
Strive is going quite aggressive here. This is a weird one.
Wait, okay. I mean, the rest of his team is coming. They have all the damage on Strive. Strive gets out and Everfrost. And out of nothing comes a miracle. Oh, my God. Lian with the snipe, with the spear. Execution. Hey, Strive making miracles work here.
Strive having balls of steel to go in on that play. Honestly, like, just goes 1v2, 1v3 to start the play off. And the whole gang from RA are there. Good
Grand
knock-up. Here comes Pantheon.
They split their focus. They didn't go into Yao Yao. Now Kepler still dies, though, because of the Ren. iBoy gets the kill. That is huge. But in the end, it's still a big advantage for RA.
Oh, yeah. RA loving this. And now we talked about the advantage Kepler was getting with the plates. That's gone. That's fully gone. iBoy and Yuyanji will be able to clear so many plates here, or at least, just going to go for the one, go for the reset instead. But regardless, big gold influx with the kill for iBoy, a 20 CS lead almost, getting the extra plate on top of the play. It's a huge, huge influx for the side of RA. And you can see, almost 5,000. In fact, they are 5,000 gold ahead in this game. They just have to keep this ball snowballing. For TT, they've got to start to accept that they can't defend these plays necessarily. They need to be willing to concede some of these objectives because, my goodness, they keep on fighting against RA and falling further and further behind.
I can't believe that Strive just goes for this play. Firstly, dodging out of the seismic shove, and then just going in. The fact that he Everfrost then flash to get out, like, it's so dirty because it just leaves everyone there to watch. And
then we get the slow-mo Pantheon Spear. A 500 damage crit there as well. Obviously, doing more when the enemy is low on HP. We've got a little contest for the Gromp here, but I don't really think TT can step too far forward. Strive threatening, and we know how massive Strive is in this game. Kepler, at least, will finish a tower. Once again, it feels like silver linings here for TT. As Herald is up, and this is not one that TT can fight for.
Weaver's Wall to the mid lane. They're going in as well. Decisiveness! Again, Lian dodging out with a ton of that blocking, and TT are just kind of left in the wake of it. Hostile takeover, snipes down. Cube gets the kill. I can't believe Lian survived.
Yeah, I feel like, it's decisive from TT. But what did I just say? You don't want team fights right now. And Lian is the worst target to try and find a pick on because he can block so much damage, flashes out of the tower, gets out. He doesn't even need the bailout. Had the bailout on him, doesn't even get low enough for that to influence the play. So huge for RA here. But once again, TT, like, look, I get it. They feel like the situation is getting out of their control, right? So they start to just force plays. This is what they did in game number 1, and it worked for them. The problem is, like, in an actual 5v5 late on in the game, I feel like TT actually have a really good shot of winning that one out, assuming the Aphelios is in a really good spot. I don't think you get to those 5v5s later on by fighting a composition that does better than you in the early game while they're ahead in the early game. Like, that's not the way to enact that win condition.
Yeah, it's just not going to work out at the end for that one. But it's trying at least. It's some positives on both ends, but I think very much so for RA, it's been about pressure. And they are utilizing, I feel like, a lot of the lessons learned from that first game and the first composition to utilize their pressure better in this second game and find a lot of these picks where they weren't necessarily on the same page in last game.
Yeah, I will say for RA, in the first game, it's not like they didn't have pressure. It's not like they didn't use the pressure in the early game. It's just they went a little bit too far at like sort of 20 to 25 minutes, and then TT punished them. And it feels like TT are trying to recreate that, right? You can see some of the plays that TT are making are like, okay, let's try and punish RA for an overstep. They're trying to go for Herald and mid. Okay, let's kill them in the mid lane. But RA weren't really committing to the Herald, so TT not able to find that punish. So RA, like you say, doing a really good job to keep this ball rolling. And it's similar to what we saw in the first game. And it's a scary sight for TT, honestly, because remember, playoffs is on the line for them. The way they win is usually through this early game.
Yeah, we'll see all outer towers down now against CT. And again, the red carpet comes out, but Hoya is the one that they're focusing on, and Hoya is brought down, actually gets out with a little bit of dodge. Out, though. The spear not going to connect from Lien. So some aggression from RA. They get the outer tower. They get another charge off as well.
Yeah, good stuff from TT to kind of hold on to that mid-tier 2. I felt like maybe RA would just go for a dive, honestly, with Hoya getting caught. But Hoya gets out, distracts a lot of RA, meaning that the mid lane play is diffused. TT could just clear that wave up, clear the Herald up, and stop any further push. So, you know, still a positive for RA, ultimately, to get the tower in the mid lane. But TT not losing more at this point, I'm calling a positive. That's how one-sided this game currently is.
It absolutely is. Appreciate Strive at the double jungle here. Just trying to get as much CS as he possibly can. And I want to check in on some of this carry potential for RA, right? We have big advantages, at least for Lien and Strive. But I think, again, it was that 20, 25 minute mark that we were keeping our questions on, and we're getting close to that moment. So I want to see this kind of more defensive utility build for Strive really work out in favor of Lien, iBoy, and Cube, right? He needs to be able to help set up a lot of that bodyguarding we saw from Yukao in game number 1.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'd love to see some kind of miracles come out from Yukao. Like, he's definitely been the MVP for TT over the last few weeks, right? We've talked about the fact he's in 3rd place for MVPs in the entire league right now. But he would need to have some kind of miracle in this game to be able to dramatically influence things with how far behind TT have fallen. I mean, I don't want to overstate it or anything, but like 6,000 gold in 18 minutes, that is a monumental lead. That's not a lead that's easy to come back from. You come with a bit of a flick onto Cube, but not going too far forward, not going too aggressive here. And RA just continuing to build this pressure up. The one issue that RA have, they have no range whatsoever. They really need Baron or to dive to actually push this lead further.
Yeah, I'm wondering where we'll start seeing those kind of aggressive ult triggers from RA, because obviously Strive has been choosing a lot of these big engage moments. He's gotten like the Glacial Fissure, the Weaver's Wall, the cease and desist, but it's about those play calling moments for RA, and that's where I really want to see some of that decision making come through for them. And again, just reiterating on the fact we need to see that snowball continue here, and they're doing just that by going for this next dragon.
Yep, this will be a nice, easy Infernal Drake for them. No contest from TT, as you'd expect. TT, this is an opportunity for them to get some vision around the Baron that's about to spawn, because we all know that's the next thing that RA will lay their eyes on. Like we said before, they can threaten dives on the tier 2s. It's more difficult to force a dive on the inhib, because the difference between diving an inhib and diving a tier 2 is like that mid lane. RA already have the top tier 2 taken, so they have control of that top jungle quadrant if they want it, which means you can threaten a flank on the mid tier 2. You can't threaten flanks on inhib towers, so it becomes a little bit more difficult to just brute force a dive in that kind of situation. So I feel like for TT, get a bit of vision down while you can. You can see they've got 3 wards around that Baron Pit area. But now you can expect RA to move on over. TT going to try and make a play onto Strive while that happens here. He's on the Krugs, but it looks like they decide to back away instead.
Yeah, the setup always just hovering around, trying to make sure they aren't overextending, trying to find those picks. But we see the opposite focus here, right? RA heavily moving into this topside jungle, trying to move back down to this mid lane. And try to get this tier 2 tower in the mid lane out so they can more easily press these objectives. But now TT, they want to pounce the Weaver's Wall. Everyone for every side onto iBoy. iBoy's down! He goes with the bailout for a little bit longer, but that's easily a double kill for TT. And they pounce yet again. It's 21 minutes in, Munch.
TT and just finding freebies against RA. Name a more iconic duo. iBoy and Yuyanja. I don't know why they are so far pushed up in the mid lane, but TT just collapsed. They didn't even use a TP or anything. Like, everyone just pushes out their side waves, moves on into that mid lane, and collapse onto the AD carry. And Answer, though,
they're getting the Grand Starfall, and Lian slowed down at the last moment with Beishwan right over the wall. He goes in on the Lian, who does block a lot of that damage, as we were saying. Not necessarily the one you want to go for, but at least RA still trying to look for those proactive movements.
I will say, while those picks are really, really nice, and Kepler getting the shutdown is massive as well, it doesn't actually lead to a massive amount of control for TT. They still don't control the map. The respawns have come on through. RA will still be in a position where they can potentially threaten the Baron. Crucially, it's just going to be a bit of gold going into Kepler and Beitron's pockets here. But now it comes to the tough part for TT. They need to stop this Baron happening. I don't know if they're even enough in this game to make it happen.
It's going to be a little bit difficult here at least, but RA actually not seeming super confident to finish it off. They will be moved out of the pit here, about 3,500 health, and TT moving in strongly with this front line, and they catch him out. Land gets the bailout, though. It's going to buy a lot of time. He still goes down. A cease and desist onto Strive, and Strive is caught as well. What is happening? It is disaster for RA, and now they're routed. There's no way to go. They're between a rock and a hard place, and both of them are so difficult to navigate. They've got Yao Yao and Beishwan pushed off the back end here as Hoya steps forward. Cube still does a ton of damage. iBoy can bait, but the Moonlight Vigil goes wide. TT back away.
Really great stuff from TT to punish an overstep from RA. Once again, RA get a lead and prove that they don't know what to do with it. Starting the Baron, fantastic. Force the TP out from Hoya, fantastic. But then back away. This is the moment where RA should just be leaving. But Lian, staying way too long, gets caught out by the Sejuani, flicked back in, and then the rest is just an easy fight for TT, right? They've completely separated the team from RA. Like, there's nothing that Cube and iBoy can do to turn this fight around. So, again, TT finding these picks, and I will say for TT, falling behind in the early game pretty dramatically, but ultimately, their mid game is actually looking pretty great. Like, they have consistently been finding punishers on RA here in both Game 1 and now in Game 2 as well, of like, look, you're overstepping, you're making big mistakes, we're just going to take you apart.
It's so crucial right now for RA to just get a hold of themselves, it feels like. Just find a way to kind of stick the pieces back together because they're starting to fall apart. It's looking like a vase that kind of crashed down on a Saturday night and you're trying to fix on a Sunday morning. But with the Dragon coming up, they're trying to set themselves up through this mid lane, through this vision pressure. And if they can find the right pick, if they can roll out that red carpet from Cube, they might just find it.
And once again, RA's composition is not about team fighting, it's about picks with this Pantheon. But they're kind of going for these 5v5s, which I feel like TT are more than happy to go for. RA still with a lead here. They want to move over to the Drake. They want to just try and keep TT away while doing the Drake, rather than just going for a 5v5 like this. But TT just threatened the Baron. They say, okay, go for the Drake, guys. We'll take a Baron if you do.
I know, it's like baiting the moment. Strive does have the cease and desist. Won't be able to pull the trigger on that one just yet. Everything available. Both teams just sit there with their hands at their hips, ready to draw the guns. But nobody yet flinching for just a moment. Dragon is now on the table. TT were looking for it on the Strive potentially, but they're just trying to push out the mid lane to try to get some pressure. And they, as you said, go straight for the Baron pit here to try to force RA's hand.
But this is well played by RA here, where they send 3 people to the mid lane so that there is some threat on TT while Lian and iBoy do massive damage to the Dragon, right? So TT can't comfortably start the Baron themselves. Oh, this is a huge pick.
Yep, it is. And Strive, Actually, iBoy gets the kill on that one. I thought Strive was going to get that one, but that is the kind of pick, that is the kind of momentum that RA absolutely need.
We've been praising TT for their good mid game, but then everyone just recalling in the jungle. That ain't your jungle right now. Like, RA are more than happy to make things happen there. Hoya dead for 20 seconds. Does have TP available, though, so in 20 seconds, he could extend a play if TT can stop the Baron happening immediately.
Weaver's Wall is coming across just to buy some space here, force them into a chokehold. 3,000 now. They're in. Beishuan is in the pit. He doesn't get it, and he will die immediately afterwards. RA take the momentum.
I'm going to be honest, RA just coin flipping the Baron there. I'm not sure that is the correct play, but it doesn't matter if it works, right? Getting themselves the Baron in the end, all off of this pick as well. Like, this is just a greedy recall. You did not need to recall here, especially when the ward comes down. You should be getting the hell out of there immediately. Hoya just getting caught out, and it's a big mistake from Hoya that sets up for RA to take the Baron. And what did we say? RA was stalling out earlier because they didn't have the siege, right? They couldn't actually finish these towers off with this short-range composition. Well, now they've got the Baron. They've got everything that they need to blow this game open again.
It's actually incredible to see that bend and break from both these teams in kind of moments like this in such a hotly contested best of so far. Maybe another back getting caught out here. He does catch out Yao Yao, just stopping and making it a little bit more painful for TT, but they're setting up towards this bottom lane to try to take down this tier 2 tower.
Yeah, they're going to be able to just set up a siege here, go for the bot tier 2. They need to look for inhibs, though, especially if they could get either the bot lane inhib or the top lane inhib to threaten neutrals in a couple of minutes' time. They're going to be focused on the bottom lane as Lian pushes the wave in the mid lane at the same time here, but there isn't actually a wave there in the mid lane, so I don't know about this. They can just threaten and dive. They just walk on in.
They have Lian on the side there, ready with the Grand Starfall. It'll be inhib down. They're out losing their top inhib tower, at least at the moment, to minions, but I think they'll be just fine with that for getting some lasting damage on the base of TT. The biggest thing is they just can't be one to overextend. They still have about 1:15 minutes on this Baron buff, so they'll be just fine in terms of sieging.
Yeah, Hoya tanking it there. I swear, Yuyanja has been caught so many times this game, but using that base call so well.
They just go straight on to Strive. There is a beautiful equalizer. It's not enough to save Lian, though, as a lot of damage will go down to TT, but that's kind of that overextension we were highlighting.
Lian going full bodyguard right there. Strive is caught and Lian dives into the fray to protect his mid laner, sacrifices himself there. So big pick here for TT, and crucially, that keeps the second inhib alive. That really should have been 2 inhibs for RA, honestly, but overstepping a little bit. I will say, TT, if there's one thing this team has done well today, it's accept losses and find something else instead, right? We see them trading a tier 2 in the top side while they lose the inhib bot. You know, it's not a good trade, but at least they're trading. So many teams across the world would just watch that inhib go down while sitting in the base together, right? At least TT are able to find a little bit of gold for themselves, and then here, willing to pull the trigger. Strive is too far forward. Yuyanja the first target here. And then as Strive tries to threaten, Hoya's like, okay. I mean, I don't know why you're so far forward, bro. We have so much CC.
It's very difficult. And I even love like the amount of damage that was trying to be put out by RA. Oh no. God. Oh no. Okay. Well, it's Yuyanja, all right? He doesn't have the Fate's Call this time, so he wasn't able to get saved. There's another equalizer just to kind of clear that minion wave there, but RA know they need to try to defend the siege as much as possible, buy time for Yuyanja to come back.
RA have fallen apart before our very eyes. 2 games in a row, they have massive leads, and 2 games in a row, they throw them away in the mid-game. TT get a pressure into this tier 2 as well. Look at the health on that top inhib tower as well. Remember, we saw that massive wave crashing. That means later on, if TT can set the waves up, they'll easily finish that one off. But Drake coming up in 30 seconds here. They want another fight.
The decisiveness. You already get 2 flashes immediately, and they turn on the Lian. He will buy time. Concussive blows doesn't get proc. They're into the pack is Strive, and Strive is taking up a storm. But RA, they're starting to fall apart here. They're starting to lose this team fight. Here comes Yuyanja. He has the hostile takeover. The Fate's Call onto 3 members, and Cube, the rest of RA are able to do it. One more auto attack, and he doesn't get him at the end. There you go, iBoy. And just from the brink, RA snatch it back.
Too much from the side of TT. They're trying to bite off more than they can chew. They do an RA against RA right there as they go for a fight, but it's as the respawn is coming through. So Yanja can rejoin the play. You see the whole squad from RA arriving, and you know, TT, I understand what they were trying to do, right? They're trying to brute force a play to extend their lead, to snowball the situation. It doesn't work out though, and it's going to be RA pushing us to 3 games.
They will indeed. They want to play spoilers in the end. A couple more auto attacks from Yanja and Cube. They get one more kill, and RA bring us to our 3rd match. And honestly, to come back mentally wise from that first game, props to RA. To be able to come into game 2, take an advantage in the way they did with the comp they did, pulling out the Pantheon for Lien, and going ham. And right, there were some fumbles, there were some tosses, but in the end, being able to